Stop apologizing for being you. Stop apologizing for the way your mind thinks. Stop apologizing because you think you talk too much. Stop shrinking yourself. Be so you, be so yourself that people who match your freak can sniff you out in the wild. They literally they don't even need to have a conversation with you. They know when you enter a room oh, she's my people. They're my people. You're my person. They know. Be so yourself that you have it's on your forehead who you are. And it's instant recognition. You don't even go looking for your people. Your people just find you. You show up in rooms and you are so unabashedly who you are that people in the same room as you just know and they gravitate towards you. Instead of shrinking to be accepted by everyone, be huge. Fill the space with who you are so that people that can't handle it, that feel suffocated, just leave. Leave no air in the room for people that don't like you. Leave no air in your spaces for people that don't live on the same things that sustain you. Be so yourself that only the people that can match your freak even want to be around you. Everyone else can't stand you. That's how much of yourself you need to be. Stop apologizing. This is the fourth episode I've recorded today. And the reason I'm making this episode in particular is because I noticed that, and I know that I do this, and I've done it for a long time, and I've carried it over into this podcast. And from today onwards, I'm sure I'll keep doing it, but I'm going to try my hardest not to. I'm not apologizing anymore. Because I've noticed that I have this bad habit of constantly apologizing for rambling or apologizing for switching topics midway or just approaching the same topic from a different angle because your girl likes to think metaphorically and my mind just wanders. And honestly, it's a strength of mine, the way that my mind likes to connect things. So why am I apologizing? Why am I apologizing for it? And literally the one place you shouldn't apologize, especially when you just made a new podcast and basically everyone that's listened to it has told you that your episodes are too short. LOL, not apologizing. But yes, everyone that's listened to the podcast has told you the episodes are too short, and yet you're apologizing for rambling. That's literally why they're here. You're literally here to hear me speak, and I'm apologizing for speaking. That's so stupid. I'm sorry, that's stupid. And I'm trying to catch myself, or I'm apologizing for expanding a point, right? Because yes, on the one hand I could say, oh, I'm going off topic, or I'm losing my train of thought low key, because that does happen to me. But why am I apologizing for that if ultimately me going off on tangents is expanding my overall thought? And you're literally here to hear my thoughts. The name of the podcast is Thinking Out Loud. Hence, you're here for thoughts. Hence, if I have more thoughts, that is good, because here you are to listen to said thoughts. So why am I apologizing for that? It makes no sense. But you know what? It's because there was a period in my life where I could tell, so people that were really, really close to me, I could tell that our relationship was souring, but they were still in my life. And I started minimizing, not minimizing myself necessarily, but I could kind of tell that the way I used to talk that didn't bother anybody, didn't really flag anything, was I could just tell you can tell on your face when you're losing your audience. Okay. You can tell on your face when you're talking to people that don't really feel like talking to you. And at this point, the relationship had already soured, but it hadn't necessarily been completely cut off. So I found myself in the present, and at this point too, I hadn't made the intentional effort of just finding new friends, which happened very quickly after that. But at this point I was still just pretty much at home or in this roommate situation, not necessarily getting along with my roommates, but not necessarily actively beefing with them or anything. And I just at that point in the semester had not taken the steps to go find new friends, which I did pretty quickly, as I'm known to do. But yeah, because of that, I found that because I had been in their presence for however many weeks of noticing that, I had lost my audience. So when I would talk to them, I would find myself apologizing for talking too much, or apologizing for rambling, or apologizing for going off topic, because I could just feel that I don't know. I could just feel it. I could just feel that I'd lost my audience. I don't know how else to put it. I could just feel that something was off. And because I felt uncomfortable about it, I found myself apologizing a lot. And then separate from that situation, in general, I found myself apologizing because even though I talk a lot, I do enjoy listening to other people speak. Like I never want to feel like when I'm in a conversation, I'm dominating the conversation. I'm not even giving someone else the opportunity to speak because I ask a lot of questions. I'm genuinely very curious about other people's interests, even if they're like completely unrelated to mine. If you're passionate about something, like my favorite thing is being around passionate people, especially if they're passionate about something that I don't know about or I'm not even really that like familiar with or interested in, because their passion always like bleeds through into whatever they're saying, and it makes it so exciting and compelling to listen to them. And so if I'm in a conversation and I can tell that I'm in that particular conversation doing more of the talking, I find myself feeling apologetic because I do enjoy listening to someone else talk, and I don't want them to feel like they're not allowed to interject or whatever, because I have ADHD, so I will go off on tangents. I will potentially forget what I was originally talking about. And if you are talking about something and I have a question or something I want to add to the conversation, if I literally don't say it in that moment, I will completely forget it. And so I love being around people whose mind works similar to mine, because they feel very comfortable just jumping in and interrupting me. And if you're someone that doesn't like to be interrupted, then it's just something that I have to learn to not do around you, because I know people do find that to be rude. And it's something I'm working on, or something that I try to work on when I know I'm in front of someone that doesn't like it. I just try to like keep the thoughts in the back of my head without forgetting them, but also keeping track of like what the person in front of me is saying. But I love when I'm around someone that like knows to interject. But when I'm not around someone that interjects, I feel apologetic, because it's like, okay, if you don't interrupt me, I will just keep talking. I will find new things to say based off of something I'm originally saying. I will go off on tangents, and I will literally just talk and talk and talk and talk. And the thing is, 98% of the people I'm around, I feel like they do enjoy that quality about me, right? So like and I'm talking about like in a friendship setting, right? Not like in a work setting or anything like that. But like if I'm around friends, 98% of the people I was around, like they enjoy that aspect of my personality. They find it entertaining or charming or whatever it is, right? And like they usually share that personality trait with me, some of them. And so it's a back and forth that we enjoy having, and it's not an issue. But I think about that 2% of people where you are talking and you can tell you're losing your audience, or that 2% where it was that particular situation I already explained, where it was like, oh, I know that, me and these girls don't really get along anymore. And it's just like, I just don't feel comfortable talking this much around them anymore. And yet, because of the 2%, I will be apologizing for something that the 98% enjoy. And that's why I'm making this episode, because it's like, stop apologizing. Like, if this is the way that I am, obviously I'm never going to do it to the point where it's disrespectful. Like I said, if you don't like to be interrupted or whatever, I will adjust as much as I can to make sure I'm not doing that to you and make sure I'm not irritating you. And if you are not the type of person to interject, I always encourage people, please interrupt me. If you have a question, if you want to add something to what I'm saying, feel free to cut me off literally at any point. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I love when a conversation like takes new directions. And if someone doesn't naturally do that, then I will let them know that it is okay to do that, so that I don't just end up talking for however long. But usually if someone is letting you talk and I can tell that they're engaged, because I'm not like stupid, I can read the room, then it's like, why apologize for the fact that you're talking? Like, they enjoy that you're talking. And even to go back to that situation I said about like the 2%, right? That I could tell I was losing the audience, like it wasn't the vibe or whatever. And I went off and eventually like did just go ahead and make new friends. Like I was tired of sitting at home and having this like uncomfortable discord in the vibe, and I was like, let me go like meet and cherish other people, right? Which is what I did. And when I was around those new people and I was being myself, I found myself apologizing even more than usual, right? Even more than my like normal context of like, okay, I ramble a lot, I know I switch topics, sorry, and it was already a bad habit, but being around those girls did make it worse. And then when I found those new friends, I would apologize around them, and they would be like, why are you apologizing? Like, we want to hear the things that you're saying. Like, we enjoy your company. We enjoy the way your mind thinks. Like, stop apologizing. And these were like completely new people at this point, even though I'd been at the school for a while. Like, I hadn't met this group of people. Some of them I knew already, but we hadn't really hung out intimately before, but we got really close that semester. And then they introduced me to a bunch of new people. And yeah, they would just be like, why are you apologizing? And I was like, yeah, why the fuck am I apologizing? Because it's true, like, they do enjoy it. Or I remember too, like, I had an internship in Austin and I made like such amazing friends in Austin. And one of them, or a few of them, were people I lived with. And one of the girls I lived with, she was like, you could literally be a comedian. Like, we would just like, I would come home from work late as fuck and I would stay up until all hours of the night with her. And it would literally just be me, not like talking to myself, obviously, because she's there, like we're talking to each other, but it was just like me talking and talking and talking and talking, and her just like laughing her head off and like really enjoying the conversation, even though like I was talking so much. And I would feel bad about it, but she like wouldn't feel bad about it because she enjoyed hearing me talk, and it was fun for her. Not like I'm like the dancing monkey or anything, you know, but like part of our dynamic was just that, yeah, like I talk a lot, but she enjoys my talking. So it wasn't like a bad thing. And that's not to say she never spoke, right? Like I said, I'm a very curious person. So like I will absolutely ask you questions and give you opportunities to speak, sometimes too much, and people will be like, why are you interrogating me? Which again, you don't match my freak. Like, you don't match my freak. Like, you're not the vibe. Okay. I just saw 11:11 while I was recording. Even spirit gets it. Even like the universe is responding. Okay. If you don't match my freak, you don't match my freak. And the point of this episode is to say, first, as a mental note to myself, after recording 4 episodes today, and as I record episodes in future, hey, stop apologizing, okay? It's a podcast. They're here to hear you speak. They're here to hear you think. If you think and your thinking jumps in lots of different orders, I mean, you can note it because, like, you've noted it, and if it jumps out to you, you're going to say something, you don't know how to not say something, but you don't need to apologize for it, and you don't need to apologize for rambling when people literally want the episodes to be longer, hence ramble more. Like, it's the point. Like, the whole point of clicking play is to hear you speak, babe, so stop apologizing for that. So that was for me, for a mental note, but then it was also for you. Like, I know maybe talking is not the perfect example to use in your particular case, but whatever it is for you, where you find yourself apologizing for being who you are, or if you find yourself shrinking in certain rooms, you are not in the wrong room. Okay. Like, leave that room, walk down the hallway, enter a new room. Like, if you find yourself shrinking because you don't fit in the room, you don't just like it. You see what I'm saying? I feel like it's pretty 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, it's pretty 1 + 1 = 2, and yet we need to remind ourselves, like, be so yourself that the people that are for you will just find you. Like, I don't even like using that, oh, you'll find your people. If you are you, if you are authentically yourself, if you figure out who you are, if you figure out how you show up in this world, if you figure out why you show up the way you show up in this world, if you figure out that you are comfortable just showing up the way you do, flaws and all, right? You can be aware of things you want to improve. Like I said, some people think interruptions are rude. So it's something that I like to be cognizant of, right? Because it is something that if I don't think about it consciously, I will do it, right? That's a flaw. To some people, they don't care, right? Because I don't care if you interrupt me, so that's not a flaw if you are someone that interrupts someone, whatever, right? But ultimately, if you get unbelievably comfortable with yourself, then when you enter spaces, you won't even have to look for the people that are right for you, because the people that are right for you will be like, oh my gosh, like, you'll shine, like, you'll glow to them. And the people that aren't right for you, you'll glow to them too, and they'll know to avoid you, right? That's why, like, sometimes when people talk, again, I was almost about to apologize because this is a tangent, but we don't do that anymore. But this makes me think of like racism dynamics or whatever, like social dynamics in America, and how people will talk about like the difference between racism in the South and racism in the North, and how sometimes people actually prefer the racism in the South because it's explicit. Like, if someone is racist, you'll just know, or they'll just say it, or it'll just be like super obvious. And because it's obvious, you can just know that that's not your person. Like, you'll just know, like, hey, I shouldn't be in a sundown town. Like, I shouldn't stop in the middle of the night at a gas station in a sundown town. Like, it's explicit, so you know where not to go, what not to do, who not to talk to, who doesn't like your presence. It's more obvious. But then in the North, and this is, I'm generalizing like a motherfucker right now. Sorry, I'm not supposed to cuss really anymore, but it's just like, it slips out. I'm generalizing like crazy, but yeah. So in the South, it's supposedly more explicit, but if you go to the North, people won't tell you that they don't like you and that the reason they don't like you is because you're Black, but they might like act out that feeling, Or they might not act it out at all, and you'll just never know that you're around snakes. Like, they might not act it out at all in the back of their head. Like, you'll never know that actually they can't stand you. Actually, they don't mean well for you. Actually, at the best and first opportunity, they will try to upend you or sabotage you in some way, minor or major, and hopefully without them even getting fault for it, without anyone noticing. So it's like, on paper, it can seem like, oh my gosh, like in the North, people are not racist. In the South, people are racist. Again, generalizing like crazy. Even my lived experience kind of has its own blending of these two generalizations, but right, blends the lines. But overall, right, you might want to say blanket statement, in the South, people are racist. In the North, people are less racist. But in reality, there's racist people in the North and the South. Would you rather know you're about to step on like a landmine? Or actually, no, a landmine is a perfect example of the North, right? Would you rather like, what's a good example? Would you rather look at a burning building, right, and know, okay, I can't enter that building because it's on fire. And if I enter a burning building that's on fire, I will die. So I'm just not going to go in there. Would you rather know that? Or would you rather look at a building, it looks perfectly normal, perfectly welcoming, says open, it's 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., it's 10 a.m., you're thinking I can walk in here, and the building is filled with freaking landmines, and it's like, at any moment as you enter this building, you could step on a landmine and blow up and die. Would you rather just see the building be on fire and know like, oop, it's on fire, don't go in there? Or would you rather look at a building that looks perfectly normal, perfectly enterable, probably not a word, don't care, perfectly enterable building, just to realize that there's landmines in there. And again, you won't realize till you step on one and you die. Ha, right. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that which one we would prefer. And I feel like, wait a minute. Oh, lol, my voice memo glitched. I thought it deleted everything, but it didn't, yay. But yeah, I feel like it applies perfectly to this, like the overall theme of this episode, right? I think you would rather know that you're not welcome from jump. Like, you would rather have the people that don't want you reject you up front than be in the presence of people that don't want the best for you, but will still be around you, still maybe even use you for their benefit, just associate themselves with you for their benefit, whatever it is, whole time they don't like you for whatever reason. And that's what happens when you shrink yourself, right? Because now I've talked a lot about why you should be yourself, but let's talk about the risk of trying to fit in. Because everyone thinks, especially in America, I notice this attitude of like, everyone thinks fitting in is so wonderful and so useful and so necessary, right? And they don't even think that it comes with a cost. And it does, because people think staying still doesn't come with a cost. People always think change is the risk. But there is a risk to not changing if the life that you're living is bad. Like, there is a risk to not changing if the thing you're comfortable with is actually not the thing you ultimately want. Because yes, you're comfortable, but you don't have what you want. And not changing means you'll never get what you want. And you think not changing is less risky because it keeps everything the same. But the same doesn't mean better. The same doesn't mean better. And the same will probably never mean better, frankly, until you, right, put some change into effect and get what you want. And then you know that the life you're living is exactly what you want, right? But it requires effort. Usually requires effort because you need to know yourself, which is a process. You need to learn yourself. To learn yourself, you have to take action. You have to try things. You have to try new things. And then to get what you want, again, you have to try new things. And you have to, so you very rarely are you born into exactly the life situation that is perfect for you. Okay? Almost everyone requires self-exploration. I don't think I've ever met or heard of someone that was born into a life and said, yep, this is the one for me. I don't need to think it up. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to push further. I don't need to see the grass on the other side. Like, very few people feel that way. So, yeah. What was I talking about? I love technology because I'm going to scroll back and figure it out. One moment. No apologizing. One moment. Oh, we were saying, what is the risk of trying to fit in, right? So what is the risk of not being yourself? And then you blend in and you don't have to really, and you do shrink, right? So that you can fit into rooms and not go into new rooms and whatever. And people don't necessarily know immediately who you are. Okay, what's the risk of doing that? Well, I think the risk was pretty obvious before. You end up in spaces you're not really meant to be in. And you don't notice you're not meant to be there until you blow up. Maybe I already did speak about this. Lol. Because let's say, we don't have to get all metaphorical with the burning building thing. We've already done the burning building thing. Okay, let's move on. But let's say you're trying to make friends at school. And, you know what's a good one? Let's say you're trying to find the person you're going to marry. Okay? You're trying to find the person that you're going to marry. but you really, really just want to be chosen, like by anyone. You just want to be accepted. You want to be the cool girlfriend or the cool I'm going to use the cool girlfriend because that's like an actual trope. But yeah, you want to be the cool chill girlfriend. So you go along with whatever. You don't really have strong boundaries. You're not really that outspoken. You don't really try to expose any quirks that might turn people off, quote unquote, right? Because some people might love those quirks. Some people might not like those quirks. So you just hide them and you act like you have no quirks, okay? And you do all this in the pursuit of marriage. Well, here's what happens, right? Is there a chance that the person you marry ends up still being perfect for you? Meaning, over time, as you lose the ability to hide all the dimension to yourself that you flattened out, right, to be accepted by this person. As the picture starts to get further colored in, they learn more about you. You stop being, right, you stop being a picture. You stop being a person. You stop being 2D. You start becoming 3D. They learn too much about you for you to still be flat, okay? When you pop off the page and you emerge and you become a person to them and not just a picture they had on a pedestal, a nice painting to stare at because you made yourself so perfect and you made sure to color in between the lines and everything like that. Once things get messy and you become real, okay? There is a chance maybe you land with the person who would love every additional, shading to the original painting you sold them. There is a person out there that's like, oh, she's real, she's messy, she's whatever. She's not the cool, chill girl. She does have boundaries. And all of those things actually make us even more compatible. There's a chance of that, right? But we live in the real world where relationships are much more complex than that. So what is more likely to happen? What is more likely to happen is that when you stop being the painting on the wall and you become the person because they have more context and you become yourself, you no longer fit. You no longer are compatible because that person was never compatible with you. They were compatible with the image of you, the shade of you, the one side to you. They didn't see the full dimension. They didn't see the full 3D. They didn't get to tell you to turn around and spin because you weren't a sculpture. You were a flat painting, okay? So they liked what they saw, but they didn't see everything. And when they saw everything, you weren't compatible anymore. That's not like, I don't know what else to say here. That's not ideal, right? That's not ideal. But this is what you risk when you say that you don't want to be yourself. This is what you risk when you say, I'm going to be someone else. I'm going to be someone that everybody likes, right? By trying to be someone that everybody likes, you land with someone that you shouldn't like, someone that shouldn't like you, okay? And then more importantly than that, right? Because even now that still sounds like, oh, well, it's not so bad. Every relationship has its quirks. We'll just figure it out. But the real issue here is you have now lost the opportunity, not permanently, obviously, because you can adjust. We love to adjust. But you have lost the opportunity of finding the person that was perfect for you because you weren't you. The person that was perfect for you didn't get to be there because the person that wasn't perfect for you saw you be a shade of yourself, liked it, filled the slot. Okay, filled the slot of your partner, life partner, partner of the season, whatever. They filled that position. And when they filled that position, the person that was perfect for you, the person that was truly compatible with you, the person that would love every aspect to you, would love your quirks, would love your flaws, would be compatible with those flaws, would balance out your flaws with their strengths, and you would balance out their flaws with your strengths. The person that was actually the perfect fit to the puzzle never had an opportunity to even fill the slot because it was filled by somebody else that you performed to get. Because the person that you get is attracted to your performance, but you aren't the performance. And because you've already attracted someone to see this performance and they say, oh, I'm buying it, and they bought you, now the person that's supposed to really get this purchase is perfect for them, they can't get it. Okay, not to equate you to a purchase, but you see what I'm saying, okay? So the cost and the risk and the expense of not being yourself, of not allowing the people that match your freak to find you, is that the people that don't match your freak find you first because you've put on a performance and you've attracted those kinds of people. And then one day you wake up and you look around and not only are you not with the person that's right for you, but when you finally evolve and maybe show who you are to these people, you might scare them off. And, well, actually, that would be ideal because now it's empty again. Someone can fill the slot. The people that are right for you can fill the slot. And if you're going through this right now where, you were one way for a while, your true colors came out, whatever, things shook up, because something always disturbs the equilibrium. And then those people ran away. You should be grateful, because the people that are right for you are on their way to you. Promise. The people that are right for you are on their way to you because you've created space for them. But there is no space for them if you fill the space they're supposed to occupy with the wrong people, because you're trying to be somebody else, because you're not brave enough to be yourself, because you're always apologizing. And because you don't want to have to always apologize, you just start shrinking so you don't have to apologize at all. You feel bad for talking too much. So instead of just feeling bad for talking too much and apologizing, which is already bad in itself, you just stop talking too much. Then you attract people that like people that don't talk too much. But the thing is, you talk too much. But actually, it's not even that you talk too much. You just talk too much for them. But you haven't allowed yourself the opportunity to find people that love people that talk too much, because you, over time, became quiet to adjust for the fact that you're around people that like quiet people. And that's not you. So what should you do? You should be you. Be so you that the space is always wide open. The space is always wide open. Nobody would even want to enter that space. No one would even want to be part of your audience. No one would want to watch the play, because what the play is about is so obvious on the flyer. Like, hey, this is what we're talking about today. This is what the play interrogates today. If you don't like it, don't come. If you don't like it, don't come. And then they don't, because it's not for them. And then the people that it's for show up. And they watch and they enjoy, and you connect and you resonate. My favorite word. You resonate with people because you are you. So be you. Moral of the story. Be you. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to stop talking too much. I'm not going to stop rambling. I'm not going to stop going off on tangents, because that is naturally how I am. And my favorite aspect of this podcast, when it comes to like all the different ways I've ever showed up online over the years, my favorite aspect of this podcast is that I can press record and just upload, which is how I also used to show up on my stories, which is why people used to always tell me to make a podcast, was because I would just press record and upload, press record and upload. And that was video, but whatever. My favorite aspect of this podcast is because I press record and upload. And you're here because, for whatever reason, you enjoy that. You resonate with it because it found you. It found you. I'm being myself, and it's resonating. And the people that don't like this kind of thing won't be here to hear the rest. They definitely didn't make it to the end of this episode. The people that don't want to be here did not make it this far. And the people that do want to be here did. And that's how I found you. Someone that resonates with me, one of my people. You found me. I didn't look for you. I just was myself. I showed up. I did the work of being me. I did the work of even interrogating the question. I did the work of saying, Abby, you got to be yourself. If you want to talk and ramble and go on tangents, you do exactly just that, girl. And you don't apologize for it. And if you feel like advising other people to do the same, you make a podcast episode and you advise other people to do the same. And the kinds of people that needed to hear that have made it all the way to the end of this episode. And now they're going to hit follow. And now they're going to share it with their other very yappy friend. And then they're going to discuss how important it is that they keep doing this. Okay? How important it is that they keep being themselves and they keep finding their people. That was all I had to do today. And now it's found you. You found me. We found each other. Okay? So if you made it this far, thank you for being here. As always, that was really like a fabulous segue into my outro, which I feel like usually I don't get. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. If you made it this far and you enjoyed the podcast, this is your first episode. Stay a while. Listen to a few others. I'm getting better at making them longer. Not really on purpose, but it is happening, so that's fun. But yeah, stick around, binge some other episodes. If you enjoy the podcast and you want to rate it a 5, then rate the podcast. If you don't want to rate it a 5, please leave me alone, because my heart can't take it. No, I'm kidding. I can take feedback. But yeah, rate the podcast if you've been enjoying it. Don't forget to hit follow, turn on your notifications so you see when I upload. The upload schedule is Wednesdays and Sundays. If you're in the US, it should show up by the time you wake up, because I post at 1 p.m. West African time. So that's like really early. I think that's like 6 a.m. Central time. So Wednesdays and Sunday mornings, you will hear from me. But in case you don't remember the schedule, you can just turn on the notifications or follow, and then it'll come up automatically. What else? All my links are in the description box. Just hit the beacon link. You can find me on all other social medias. It's Live Lumani, LIVELUMANI. And if you want to just message me privately, you can check out my website, livelumani.com/connect. I also write, so if you want my writings delivered straight to your email inbox every now and then then you can subscribe to Live Lumani Letters. It's hosted on Substack, but you don't need to have a Substack to get access to it because it'll go to your email. So just hit Live Lumani Letters in the beacons link, and then you can drop your email in, and you will get my letters every now and then. You'll hear from me. So that's fun. What else do people say when they're done talking? I don't know, because I never end talking. All right. Love you so, so much. I'll see you next time. Bye. Mwah.